Good morning. It is Monday. It's Tuesday. I was thinking the first day of the month, and all of a sudden my mind started going in the wrong direction. It is Tuesday, April the 1st. Yep, the first day of the new month, April the 1st of 2025. Time is 8:07. Plenty of sunshine here at our downtown studios of 98.9 WXCO. Temperature, bit chilly, 21 degrees. It is the Tuesday edition of the Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. You can also join us by going to YouTube, youtube.com, and the 98.9 WXCO channel on YouTube. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a little discombobulated because I am flying solo this morning. And Ian got into a bit of a fender bender. And he's okay, but had some damage to the vehicle and unable to get in today. So hopefully everything will be taken care of quickly for Ian Welsh. He is not with us. Hopefully he'll be back tomorrow morning. But the good news is he is okay. And so flying solo here this morning. You can join us by calling or texting us at 715-382-9297. 715-382-9297. As I said, you can join us at youtube.com. Today, normally we have the camera that's pointed. It's in the studio where Ian normally sits. And I'm in his chair today because I have to push the buttons in order to get me on and off the air. But the camera is much closer to my face. So actually you can see right into the wrinkles of my forehead. And if you want to do that, go to youtube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel there. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll be talking about the weather. Right now, again, it looks really calm. It looks very nice. But that's going to change yet again because we're expecting a little bit of winter-like weather. Maybe, hopefully, the last bit of snow that we see, at least until the fall. But who knows? But we'll find out about the weather. A winter weather advisory goes into effect tonight at 7 o'clock here in central Wisconsin. But we'll get all the details, how much snow we may get tonight into early tomorrow morning. That's coming up tomorrow at 8:21 here this morning on the program. We will be. Well, I see the phone is ringing. Do I call up the phone? Well, let's see what's going on here. Why not, huh? First of all, would you like to be on the air?
No, I wouldn't, Chad.
Okay, you're gonna have to call back then during the break because I'm running my own show here today.
Chad, this is Buck. Did you hear that Ian?
Yes, he contacted me this morning, Buck, and we're happy to hear that he's okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to didn't make sure you knew about it, and I think his car is drivable, so I think he can come in as soon as he's done doing his report. Okay.
Okay, very good. That's good to hear.
Okay.
Thank you, Buck.
All right. Talk to you later.
You bet. That was Ian's father, in fact. When it just shows again the importance of our producers, and it's not just this show, but the shows all around the state of Wisconsin. Whatever show you're tuned into on the Civic Media Radio Network, we have producers that do so much behind the scenes on the air as well. Of course, we have Ian join us on the air. We have all of our other producers join the hosts on the air as well. But when we have an issue, whether he's sick or whether in this case having a little bit of a fender bender, it makes it a lot more difficult. So do I pick up the phone or I do not pick up the phone? But again, we will still love to have your voice be heard. Perhaps maybe easier to send a text, but again, if you call up, we'll get you on the air here. But again, so the good news is hopefully Ian could be back before the end of the show, and if he is, then as part of our daily history lesson at the end of the program, we would have our number for the day quiz. We always give Ian the number for the day quiz. 3 different choices, one of which is our number for the day, 2 are incorrect. And we always try to put a little bit of extra behind it because we want to give him an opportunity to have a passing grade based on the math. Well, you should get 1 out of 3 right just by guessing. When there's 3 choices, that's 33%. So anything above 33% would be a passing grade. Anything below 33% would be a failing grade. But we also want him to have a winning week, which is more right than wrong, which is 3 out of 5. His best ever week is 4 out of 5, and still looking for that first ever perfect week of 5 out of 5. So that will be coming up at the end of the day. Even if he is not here, we'll still do our number for the day. We'll give you the quiz. We'll let you take the quiz at the end of the program. Also today, of course, not only April 1st, not only April Fool's Day, but it is Election Day. And it is an election that here in the state of Wisconsin, our spring election that will be watched, not just here in this state, but throughout the country. Elon Musk and Donald Trump have put themselves very much into the forefront of the state Supreme Court election. In fact, you'll be hearing coming up here in just a few minutes, once again, Brad Schimmel, his spot. And the thing about it, you may be saying, why are you playing a Brad Schimmel commercial? Why are we hearing Brad Schimmel commercials with Donald Trump telling us how wonderful Brad is and how terrible Judge Crawford is? Well, part of the rules when it comes to having a broadcast outlet such as ourselves is that we have to take advertising from all points of view. And that's the way it should be. And not just for advertising. I've said this before. There may be voices that come on this show that you don't like. You may be saying, well, Chad, why are you putting this person on the program? Well, we have an open door policy here. So often the folks on the other side do not walk through that open door. I think for the most part that we do have mostly folks that perhaps you can nod your head in approval of. But that's not to say that if there's somebody out there from a different perspective, we offer the opportunity to come and talk to me and talk to other hosts here on Civic Media, because that's what we want to do here. We want to have the discussions. We want to have the battle of ideas. And I think one of the aspects that has been frustrating of the Donald Trump era is that the battle of ideas have been put on the back burner, and what I would call lies have been put on the front burner. It's one thing to have a belief. It's another thing to tell lies. And I just think that people around Donald Trump, including Trump himself, try to win the battle of ideas through lie is such a strong word, but I can't think of another word at this point. But the point being is that you're going to hear today a number of Brad Schimmel commercials, but it's because we have a responsibility, and also it is a rule from the Federal Communications Commission that we do have to accept advertising from all declared candidates. And Brad Schimmel, of course, one of the candidates on the ballot for the state Supreme Court. So you'll hear this commercial, and I'm pretty sure it'll be the same one we heard a couple of times in the last hour, where Donald Trump is on the phone for 60 seconds just pontificating. There's really no method to the commercial. It's like, Mr. President, we're going to start recording. Just talk for 60 seconds. I mean, I don't know if it's a strong commercial. Maybe the folks that believe in Donald Trump and believe in Brad Schimmel find it to be a strong commercial, but frankly, I do not. But this state Supreme Court election is going to be, I think, in addition to being a very important race for control, ideological control of the Wisconsin State Supreme Court, it will also be, I think, a little bit of a litmus test on the popularity of Donald Trump. Donald Trump did not win Wisconsin by a landslide 5 months ago. It was a close election, but Donald Trump did defeat Kamala Harris in November. It's going to be very interesting to see the percentage of the vote that Brad Schimmel gets this evening compared to the percentage of the vote that Donald Trump received back in November. Has any of the Donald Trump support been peeled off because of the policies implemented by Mr. Trump in the last 2.5 months? There's been a lot of pushback from certain segments over the last 2.5 months. I have to admit that over the weekend, I saw some numbers, some poll numbers, and I've said this in the past. I'm not a big person when it comes to polls. I think polls can be used, but I often see media folks, especially, use the polls in a way that they shouldn't be used, basically as content. Yes, it is content. It is a situation where it does give a snapshot. But you have to, I think, be smarter than a lot of folks are when it comes to the polls. But the numbers that I did see over the weekend surprised me that Donald Trump's numbers, yes, he had one of the numbers I saw indicated 46% approval, 51% disapproval. And generally, early in an administration, that is not good. Normally, early in an administration, there is that honeymoon period. But Donald Trump, I think, is not getting the same honeymoon period because of the policies he's pushing through. But even with the numbers being lower than they normally would for this time of administration, I'm still surprised that 46% of the people in this poll indicate that they approve of what Donald Trump has been doing. I would think it'd actually be a bit lower. But again, I try, as I do this program, to not get into the bubble of what I think people should be thinking or what I think people are thinking. And I think I may have found myself thinking, well, because I have been outraged with some of the policies put forth by Mr. Trump, that a greater percentage would. We have to remember there are still a lot of people that would crawl on glass to vote for Donald Trump, and likewise would crawl on glass to vote for the guy that Donald Trump is supporting today, Brad Schimmel. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the actual vote numbers are when all is said and done later on this evening. Hey, we're going to tell you about the special coverage we have coming up, but we have to take a time out. Be back with Brittney in 2 minutes here on 98.9 WXCO. Hello.
Good morning.
Ian was an offender bender.
Oh, no. Trying to get to work today?
I think so, because I got a message, and then in the last segment, his dad called and said that he's okay, and
Oh,
he might
good.
be in later. But
Oh my gosh. That's so
yeah,
scary.
yeah. So pushing all the buttons myself. All right, just about 30 seconds.
Okay.
Step right up and don't be shy, because you will not believe your eyes. She's right here behind the glass. You're gonna like her, because she's got class.
Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app, and again at YouTube.com on the 98.9 WXCO channel. Again, lots of sunshine here to start off your Tuesday morning, start off the month of April. Temperature still a bit chilly at 21 degrees here at our studios in downtown Wausau. But enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the blue skies, because it's going to change as we get later into the day. And in fact, another dose of a little winter-like weather could be in the forecast. To make sure on that, to find out exactly what the weather models are saying, we are joined once again by our meteorologist, Brittney Merlot. Brittney, good morning.
Good morning. So I have to be the first to tell you guys that the weather models, the recent data, just said about 2 feet of snowfall for Wausau.
Oh, you know.
April Fools.
You got me for a second. You got me.
I can't. I'm the worst liar, joker. I can't do it.
You were trying your best to keep that straight face, and I can almost see it's like you would not be great. I would love to have you at the poker table with that kind of poker face. I tell you that much.
Right.
I got nothing. I can just see the full house right there.
That's why I don't play poker.
There you go. But it is a very nice morning. But again, it was like a few. How many significant snow events did we have in March? Like 3? Is that right?
3 or 4.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, so we're gonna get one more. I did hear you say during Pat's show about an hour ago that perhaps this could be the last one.
I do. I think it might be the last blast. That's what I'm calling it. I mean, I'm looking 2 weeks out, and I'm not seeing any more snow accumulations here for us in the entire state. And at that point, I mean, we're going to be warm enough to where snow isn't so much a factor anymore. So this could be it. Let's keep our fingers crossed, because we have been smacked so hard, like you said, Chad. Storm after storm after storm. March was relentless, and now we're in April. Let's change the table, right?
Exactly. Well, when we look ahead, I did see that starting at 7:00 that there is an advisory out, a winter weather advisory, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Winter weather advisory in effect for tonight until early tomorrow morning. At least it's not a winter snow warning or a winter weather warning. What are we expecting? When do we expect some of this, the clouds and the snow to come in?
Yeah, so we're going to start to get cloudy by this afternoon. I mean, they're already going to be moving in pretty rapidly. The winds are going to start to whip. We're going to see gusts out of the south at about 25 miles per hour by this afternoon, and high temperatures will hit the upper 30s. So we're going to be above freezing. This storm is going to start to move in, and it's going to start bringing a wintry mix first, possibly with a little rain and snow at probably around 6 to 7 or so, I think is when that's really going to start to move in. But then this flips to all snow by 7:00, and that's when the accumulations start. So that's why the winter weather advisory starts then, and the roads are going to start to deteriorate. So in terms of snowfall, through this evening, again, from about 7 through the overnight, we'll be waking up tomorrow morning to about 3 to 5 inches of snow on the ground, mixed with some sleet in the morning, mixing over to some freezing rain, and then it turns to all rain. Probably around 9:00 tomorrow morning is when we're totally in the clear. Temperatures will be above freezing. We'll be going to the mid-40s tomorrow afternoon, and all of that rain is going to wash the snow and sleet away that we accumulated. So you don't have to shovel if you don't want to. That's the good part.
But it's going to be kind of messy, won't it?
Yeah, it is. It's that slushy, sloppy, wet, sleety, yeah, that kind of snow. And we're also going to have a potential of just a little trace of ice on top of that as well. So don't go running out of the house tomorrow morning into the snow thinking everything's great. I did this once before, slipped and broke my tailbone. So be careful. Yeah.
And then after this, it looks like as we get later into the week, maybe a little dose of spring-like weather.
A little bit, yes. We dry things out. The sun dominates Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and even Sunday. So, a beautiful weekend. Temperatures will be in the low 40s on Thursday. We do hit the low 50s on Saturday, and then we'll drop back down a little bit to the low 40s on Sunday. So, a little up and down in temperatures, but I'll take the sunshine and no precipitation.
And the thing is, it is April. We're going to get closer here. We're going to start to get some of this really nice spring weather at some point here very, very soon. It's something to look forward to. When you look at the calendar and it says April, it just hasn't felt like it recently because we've had
No.
so much snow.
It really, really hasn't. It's felt more like the middle of winter last month, unfortunately.
Well, what are the details here for this? Again, I mean, I'll say this, it has not been boring. Another
No.
interesting next 24 hours.
Sure is. I mean, people are trying to head to the polls today. Go earlier, the better, because we are looking at that rain and snow mix moving in probably around 6 or 7 or so. Flips to all snow by 7. That'll start accumulating. Probably won't be the best out there by 8 o'clock tonight. Of course, high temperatures will hit the upper 30s today before all of this happens. That winter weather advisory runs from 7 p.m. to 9 a.m. tomorrow. A good 3 to 5 inches of snowfall. You could get near 6 inches if you're a little bit further north and east in Marathon County. But otherwise, tomorrow morning, a wintry mix could still be ongoing, giving slick and slippery, icy kind of road conditions early. But then after 9 o'clock, it's all regular rain, and we're in the clear. Highs in the mid-40s tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine for the rest of the week and into the weekend. Low 40s to low 50s.
Sounds pretty darn good. So
Yes.
let's get through the next 24 and then start looking ahead towards some real spring weather.
Mhm.
Brittany, thank you again for the information. Enjoy your election day and April Fool's Day and everything else going on, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
You too. Have a good one. Thank you.
That is our meteorologist, Brittney Merlot, joins us every weekday morning right here on 98.9 WXCO. Right now in downtown Wausau at our studios at the corner of Washington Street and North 3rd Street. A lot of sunshine, temperature 21 degrees. Winds are out of the east at 5 miles per hour. The wind chill factor is 14. Dew point of 17. Relative humidity of 85%. The barometer at 30.11 inches. And a visibility of 10 miles. Well, coming up, we will be checking out what's going on in the news, the weather, the sports, entertainment, information update. We do it at the top and the bottom of the hours here on Civic Media and 98.9 WXCO. The time is 8:29. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
I just don't know what to feel. Sometimes I don't know what to feel. Everything I thought that I knew starts to look so unreal. There's a ringing in my head that keeps me awake at night. Sometimes I don't know what is right. The day I saw a car was the little dog under its wheel. It did not even stop, it just sped off and out of sight. Sometimes I just feel so afraid, but I know that no one else has it made. So if I just believe in myself, I won't need no help from nobody else, and I can make it out. Everything will be okay. I got to keep on moving on. There's nothing else I can do. But sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. I just don't know what to feel. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't know.
I've got a pocket full of holes. Head in the clouds, the king of
me tonight. If this is all wrong, I don't want it right. 'Cause you're the one sure thing when I get lost in the game. Once again, hey, I'm a lucky guy without a reason and I.
On Friday, the 2025 season opens for the Wausau West High School softball team. The Warriors will take on Lakeland. Hear all the exciting action live on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app, starting with the pregame show at 2:50 and the first pitch at 3. Wausau West softball on 98.9 WXCO is brought to you by the Cloverbelt Credit Union, Red Robin Restaurants, Sun Printing, the Wausau West Athletic Department, Coast to Coast Marketing. It's Wausau West taking on Lakeland in the high school softball season opener. Friday, starting with the pregame show at 2:50 and the first pitch at 3 on Wausau's only radio home for high school sports play-by-play. 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Chad Home Show, 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Also on YouTube, youtube.com and the 98.9 WXCO page. Election day. Can you feel it? Big election. Big election. We know about the Wisconsin State Supreme Court race. Obviously, very, very important in terms of some of the issues that could come before the court in the next year or two. But there are other events and other races going on as well when it comes to the election day, depending on where you are. Of course, here in the city of Wausau, there is a school referendum. And, you know, it is interesting. It's a $8 million operational referendum for the Wausau School District. And at what point are the folks in Madison going to notice that school district after school district after school district are asking their voters to raise their own taxes? And people like Robin Voss and Devin LeMahieu can say, well, we're not raising anybody's taxes. Yes, you are. You are raising people's taxes because of your dereliction of duty when it comes to funding the schools in the state of Wisconsin. And doggone it, one of the aspects of modern American life is this idea that any spending is bad. There have been so many studies out there in terms of not just school spending, but spending generally, where you get 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 times back in revenue. And if you don't have good schools, you're not going to have a healthy community. But here in Wausau, the Wausau School District Board of Education asking for an $8 million operational referendum. It is a non-recurring operational referendum. If it's approved, the Wausau School District will be able to raise its revenue limit by $8 million per year through the 2029-2030 school year. The money will be used for maintenance needs like roofing and air conditioning, camera upgrades, as well as enhanced student programming and help with the budget deficit and to retain staff. So, again, it's not a case where the Wausau School District has been spending beyond their means. They haven't. They really haven't. Superintendent Cale Bushman, when the original vote was announced, says they're proud of the successes, but the district faces serious financial challenges due to factors largely outside of our control. Bushman said, we believe we've taken steps like consolidation of schools from the recommendation of the Elementary Facility Plan Citizen Task Force to help address some of the challenges. Based on conservative assumptions, the district is projecting a deficit of approximately $4 million for the next school year, 2025-2026. This projection factors in the state-level funding recently granted to public school districts as part of the last state biennial budget. We'll see what happens with the next state biennial budget, which will be discussed here in the next few months. If the referendum is approved, it would have an estimated property tax impact of $0 per year on every $1,000 equalized property value in our community. Again, $0 in terms of the property tax impact. This is possible due to sound planning by the district. So again, it's an important vote. And if you haven't voted yet, make sure you do get out there and vote. And make sure that as well that you are informed, whether it is this race, whether it is one that I'm keeping an eye on, because I live in the village of Weston. And the village of Weston has an election going on. Village of Weston president. Mark Maloney is the current Village of Weston president. He is challenged by James Pinsino. He is the owner of Patriot Auto in Weston. And I drive past Patriot Auto every single day. Every day when I go home at the end of my day. If I'm heading home from work, if I'm heading home from a sports broadcast, I head home and I have to turn right at Patriot Auto in Weston. And over the many years that Patriot Auto has been in the village of Weston, they enjoy poking at non-conservatives. They have their sign up and they always are talking, about the terrible liberals, the terrible progressives, about how wonderful the conservatives and the Trumpists and the MAGAs are. They like to, just keep poking at us as if they don't really care that anybody that may be of that political persuasion will probably find another place to have their vehicle serviced. But in the end, I guess, they obviously are doing pretty well. Over the years, they moved into a new site. I was not thrilled when that happened because they moved right into the corner where I turned every day. But James Pincinot, and right now, as I've driven home in the last couple of weeks, it says Pincinot for president, and it has a comment about, again, the waste that he considers of the new Village of Weston building. The Village of Weston is a growing area of not just central Wisconsin, but of the state of Wisconsin as a whole. And I just don't understand his constant dragging on that building. Yes, it costs money, but in the end, again, if you're always responding, if you're always waiting to the last moment to make an improvement, then you're going to pay more for it. You have to have foresight of planning. And the idea that Pincinot for years keeps on railing, we shouldn't have spent that money. I will not spend that money. If you vote for me, we won't waste that money again. And basically, everything that he has said, he is a MAGA, obviously, the way that over the years he has been out front about his political beliefs. But basically, it's all about, we're not going to spend any money. We're not going to spend any money. We're not going to spend any money. Well, there are times you have to spend some money. So again, I'm curious to see if I would call it a Trump-aligned candidate, Trump-aligned in terms of his political beliefs and his political thinking, is going to be able to defeat the current incumbent in the Village of Weston. I'm very curious to see what happens tonight in Weston. Maloney, again, has been the incumbent, and sometimes obviously as an incumbent, the people that don't like a decision, maybe feel like there's time for a change. And obviously Pincinot has been using his business as a major advertising hub as well. And obviously is a person that's well known in the Village of Weston. So again, I find it to be a very intriguing race that we'll keep an eye on tonight as well in the Village of Weston. Basically as well, just a real quick note that during the spring elections, often it's hard to get some real in-depth analysis and reporting of the results. But civic media, when it's election night, we are there. And in fact, tonight, it's Wisconsin Decides 2025 special election night coverage on the Civic Media Radio Network, including right here on 98.9 WXCO. So number one, obviously, get out there and vote. I know a lot of folks have voted already, and I got into it a little bit with Kreitlow and with Greg Bach, because I always join them in the final segment of their show on Tuesday mornings. And I said, I get a little tired of folks always talking about early voting. Early voting, yes, early voting's fine. It's good. It's really good. But those of us that just like voting on election day, and I've always been a traditionalist, I always vote on election day. There's nothing wrong with voting on election day. In fact, I drove to work this morning and the polls had just opened in the Village of Weston, and I saw folks polling in already very, very early. It's very nice to see people on election day going into their local voting booths and being able to do their part for democracy. But if you haven't voted already, make sure you have that plan to get out there sometime today. You have until 8 p.m. tonight in order to vote. And then once the polls close at 8 o'clock, come on, turn on your radio, turn on your app, turn on your computer, but tune in, because tonight, starting at 8 p.m., it is special election night coverage. We will have a look at the results for the statewide races for the state superintendent of public instruction, in addition to the state Supreme Court. There are the big constitutional ballot question in terms of trying to, I think the Republicans say, codify voter ID. There will be results from local referendum. I just talked about one here in Wausau, and also municipal elections, which I just talked about as well, from around the state of Wisconsin. So again, we'll have our political director, Dan Schaefer's part of this. We'll have other members of Civic Media's statewide network be part of it as well. So tonight, starting at 8 p.m., make sure you tune in to election night special coverage. And boy, very important races. And tomorrow morning, it's going to be very interesting because let's, for argument's sake right now, say Brad Schimmel wins. Let's say the private school voucher advocate wins for state superintendent of public instruction. What will that say about the state of Wisconsin? After 2.5 months of what I would call a disastrous start to the Trump presidency, that the conservatives are still able to pull out wins in the first election after the Trump 2.0 era begins. What would that say? What would it say if Judge Susan Crawford wins? And the liberal majority is basically baked in for a number of years, because the next couple of elections, the conservatives will be protecting seats in the state Supreme Court. So they will not be able to take ideological control of the state Supreme Court for at least a few years. What would that say for Wisconsin? So again, we're going to find out a lot. And I do think it's a referendum on what the state wants in terms of the Supreme Court, especially. Do they want to make sure that the new lines are protected, or go back to a conservative majority? But it also, I think, is going to be a bit of a referendum on the early days of Trump. Also a referendum on Elon Musk, who's made himself a big factor in the state Supreme Court race as well. So again, we're going to have a lot to analyze when it's all said and done later on this evening. But the first thing is get out and vote. The time is 8:48. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
You are terrified by the smallest sound, because you live your life in such a sheltered world. As do those that surround you, well, I have seen you stand
Hello there, this is James.
Melissa,
Chad.
and Seth, inviting you to come work with us. Civic Media is looking for a full-time sales professional to work with existing and new broadcast and digital media clients.
we're a fast-growing company that offers competitive wages, benefits, a relaxed working environment that focuses on quality of life and includes a team of support to reach our shared goals.
Join us in continuing what we have done for 80 years. Be a part of the community, put into the community, celebrate community.
Find out more by contacting Chuck Gennaro at 715-935-8030 or email chuck.gennaro@civicmedia.us. All inquiries are confidential. Civic Media Incorporated is an equal opportunity employer, and we look forward to you joining us.
Hey, Wisconsin, it's construction season, and the Wisconsin DOT wants to help you safely navigate work zones. Check 511wi.gov or download the app for road work or closures on your route. Know before you go with 511 Wisconsin, sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
Hello, I've waited here for you. Never alone. Tonight, I'll throw myself into the blue. And out of the red, out of the head, she sang.
Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app, and at YouTube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel as well. 715-382-9297. That's 715-382-9297 to join us either through a text or a call. That is the number for either the call or the text line. You can also use your Civic Media app, open up the 98.9 WXCO part of the app, and then there's a button to call, a button to text as well. So we'd love to hear from you, especially here on this election day. Also, I'd like to hear from you because in the last break, that's a few moments ago, we heard again the Brad Schimmel spot, and it's interesting. It's interesting to see how candidates decide to use their final moments to communicate with the voters. The final message they want to put out there. And it's obvious in the last number of days that Brad Schimmel has decided that the way that he can win this election is to try to wrap his arms around Donald Trump. All the advertisements that I've seen in recent days have been Donald Trump endorsing Brad Schimmel. And Schimmel is paying for these spots. This is not one of those third-party operations. We often hear about the third-party groups that get involved in these elections and putting a lot of money into it. The commercial you just heard here on this radio station, you've heard it twice here in this hour, is paid for by Schimmel for Justice. And that's Brad Schimmel's campaign operation. I'm curious, what do you think? Did that spot, and again, I know that some of you out there probably would not vote for Brad Schimmel under any circumstances. Maybe there are a few of you out there that would. What is your take? Did that 60-second rambling endorsement from Donald Trump sway you in any way? Do you think that that is an effective way to be able to get votes here in the final moments of a campaign? Is calling Susan Crawford a lunatic? I mean, I chuckled when I hear Trump talk like that. Susan Crawford is not a left-wing lunatic, but Donald Trump said she is in this commercial. And at the start of the commercial, he's just rambling. Law and order, Brad Schimmel, backs the blue all the time. You know, I take this dichotomy, and I said this as well in the last segment of the Up North News Show in the last hour. It's one thing to say you're, strong on law and order, that you're tight with the blue, backing the blue. But Brad Schimmel has come out and said that the January 6th convicted felons were treated unfairly. That he really was upset about that. And I said to Pat and to Greg an hour ago, would he have felt the same way if the January 6th mob had been more people of color? And the idea that Brad Schimmel also feels like Donald Trump was treated unfairly. Donald Trump was investigated. Donald Trump was indicted. Donald Trump went to court with his highly paid. I assume I shouldn't assume he paid his lawyers, but he had his lawyers, and they had a trial. Donald Trump had an opportunity to put all the evidence that said that he did nothing wrong when it came to the Stormy Daniels case. And much of that case involved him using his businesses to try to hide the fact that he was paying off a porn star to keep it away from the American people in the run-up to the 2016 election. And when the jury of Americans, average American citizens, heard the evidence, they said, Donald Trump, you're guilty 34 different times. 4 felony convictions in court. But Brad Schimmel thinks that when Donald Trump is convicted, it's unfair. Brad Schimmel thinks that when the January 6 people are convicted, it's unfair. But it's not unfair in other cases. Why is that? Why is that? And I think we just should look at that. And I'm not going to throw out any other accusations towards Mr. Schimmel at this point, but why? Why is he thinking that someone like Donald Trump and somebody like the January 6th defendants are treated unfairly while others are? Something to think about before heading to the polls coming up here on Election Day. It is 8:58. We have another hour to go. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
How can it be that a love carved out of caring, fashioned by fate, suffers so All I need is a TV show, that and the radio. Down on my luck again, down on my luck again. I can show you some of the people in my life. I can show you some of the people in my life. It's driving me mad. Just another way of passing the day.
Good morning. It is Monday, April the 1st of 2025. The time is 9:07. Temperature has moved up nicely, up 9 degrees in the past hour. We are now at 30 degrees under sunny skies. Gonna change. We'll have more on that coming up in a few moments, but it is hour number 2. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO. And on the Civic Media app. You can also join us at YouTube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel on YouTube. And be able to see my face, because normally we have the camera that is here in the producer's room pointing through a window towards the on-air studio. Today I am sitting in the producer's chair because our normal producer, Ian Welsh, is not here this morning. He got into a little fender bender. I think it was early this morning, in fact, on his way to work. The good news is it's not serious. It is not anything that caused him any injuries, but Ian is not here this morning, and hopefully he'll be back with us either later in this hour or tomorrow morning with us on the program on Wednesday. Coming up here in this second hour, yesterday, if you tuned in on 98.9 FM yesterday, you just heard static, because after the ice storm on the weekend, we had some issues with our transmitter, and it knocked down 98.9 on our FM dial. The good news was we were still on the air on 12:30 a.m. We were still on our stream. We were still on the app. We were still on YouTube. So everything else, we were fine yesterday when it came to being on the air. But if you are just somebody that tunes in every day on 98.9, which I know a lot of you do, you missed it, and you missed our show. And we feel bad about that. We were able to get things back up and running yesterday afternoon on 98.9. So we're back on every aspect of our vast number of ways to be able to tune in each and every day. But yesterday on the program, I had a chance to talk to Judge Susan Crawford. Of course, she is on the ballot today for the state Supreme Court in a very, very important race. And we had a chance to speak to the judge about Elon Musk's visit to Wisconsin on Sunday, generally about his spending, generally about what Judge Crawford brings to the table should she be elected. And I asked her about justice as well, because I think that in this era right now, there is a sense that we are struggling as a society with justice. Are we truly balanced here when it comes to justice? Is justice blind? So I asked her about justice. And since we were off yesterday with 98.9, just in case for those folks out there who missed our discussion and who may still want to hear a little bit more from Judge Crawford before heading to the polls today, a little bit later on in this hour, we will hear the conversation that I had with Judge Susan Crawford. So that'll be coming up after the bottom of the hour news update. So stick around for that. We'll hear Judge Susan Crawford again coming up at about 9:34 this morning here on the program. Then in our final segment, we'll have our daily history lesson. Take a look at some of the famous events that have occurred on April Fool's Day in history. Talk about a few folks who are celebrating April Fool's Day birthdays. talk about special events being acknowledged today on April Fool's Day, and then wrap things up with our number for the day quiz. And normally, if Ian gets back in time, we'll give it to him. Otherwise, we'll give it to you because we have a number for the day. We make it a quiz. We give 3 choices, 1 of which is the correct answer, 2 of which are incorrect. When Ian is here, we try to make sure that he gets above 33% because you have 3 choices based on the math. 1 out of 3, 33%. Anything above 33% is a passing grade. Anything below 33% is a failing grade. Also, we want Ian to have more right than wrong. So 3 out of 5 for a normal work week is the goal. His best ever week is 4 out of 5. And of course, we're still hoping that ultimately he has a perfect week. So we'll do our number for the day quiz in the final moments of the show at about 9:56 as well here on 98.9 WXCO. Wanted to remind you as well that we still have today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday left for our big break into spring text to win statewide contest. Yep, you have a chance to win some great prizes. In fact, in the 7 o'clock hour this morning, Pat Kreitlow gave you a chance to win $100 in hard cold cash. But what happens is each weekday at 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m., the host will give you a keyword to text in on the Civic Media app. And again, for this contest, you have to have the Civic Media app. And it's really simple to download. Just go to your app store, search Civic Media, download the app. It is free. It is a terrific piece of technology. Get access to every station in the Civic Media radio network. We would like you to use the 98.9 WXCO part of the app when playing in the contest because it makes us look better. The folks down at corporate headquarters, they look at where are our texts coming from, and we want you to be through WXCO. So basically what will happen, Pat did it at 7 o'clock, Jane Matinaire will do it at 11, Todd Alba at 1, Dom Salvia at 4, is near the beginning of their hour, they will give you a keyword. And then all you have to do is send that one word. You don't have to put anything else in there. Just text the keyword and you'll be part of a drawing. Everybody that has the correct keyword for that hour is part of the drawing for the hourly winner. And then everybody as well who sends in their keyword for that hour, they are then part of the final drawing for our grand prize. And our grand prize drawing will be a brand new queen size mattress set from Verlo Mattress. So again, if you are part of every hour, that's 4 times a day, that's 20 times a week, that's 40 times over 2 weeks, that's more chances to win that brand new queen size mattress set from Verlo Mattress. But the hourly prizes are cool as well. I mentioned $100 cash occurred in the 7 o'clock hour. Also, you have a chance some hours to win a Chula Vista getaway down at the Chula Vista Resort in the Wisconsin Dells. You have a chance to win Milwaukee Brewers club level tickets. The Brewers eventually will turn things around. It's been a very rough start for the crew so far, but there'll be better days. But even if they're not, it's still fun to go out to the old ballpark. And we have terrific seats. They're club level seats. I've actually been there because we have tickets through Civic Media, and I went one game last year. And the seats are just terrific. If you want to go and see the game and be part of a great atmosphere and a great experience, get those tickets. So, and you have a chance every time that we play the contest. So again, we have today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday still at 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. The break into spring text to win statewide contest right here on 98.9 WXCO and on the Civic Media app. Need to remind you as well, it is election day, and make sure when you're done voting, when the polls close at 8 o'clock tonight, that you tune in, because we're really proud of the coverage that we provide when it comes to all election nights, not just the general election. We had such wonderful coverage on election night last November, but when it's election night, we want you to be able to tune in here to WXCO and Civic Media and get the results and get the analysis that you need. And it's Wisconsin Decides 2025. And yep, 2025, this is it. And I got to say, we all need a nice long break before we get back into the midterm elections in 2026. But after tonight, we can step away and just enjoy 2025. But tonight at 8 p.m., the polls close, and then tune in here on 98.9 WXCO or tune in on the app, tune in online. Make sure you tune in and hear results and analysis you will not find anywhere else. We will have our political director, Dan Schaefer. We will have folks all over the place getting the results and then analyzing what we're seeing, whether it's with the state Supreme Court race, the superintendent of public instruction, got the constitutional ballot question involving voter ID. There'll be results from the local referendum. I mentioned that here in Wausau, we have a referendum with the Wausau School District and municipal elections around the state. I was talking a bit about the village of Weston and the village president race that is going on this evening as well. So again, lots to analyze, lots of results to bring to you. And tune in tonight starting at 8 p.m. right here on 98.9 WXCO or any of the civic media news talk stations for election results and analysis. And again, big night, big election. Boy, I'm curious. I'm very curious to see what happens because I don't know what's going to happen. We know that the state of Wisconsin always very tight races. I mean, Janet Protasiewicz won by a significant margin a couple of years ago in the state Supreme Court race. But at the same time, that's an outlier. We saw Ron Johnson win a very tight Senate race 2.5 years ago. We saw a very tight race between Tammy Baldwin and Eric Hovde a year ago, 5 months ago. We saw, again, another close race on the presidential ballot. So these statewide races are very, very tight. I'm curious to see how this Schimmel race against Crawford goes. I'm very curious to see how the state Department of Public Instruction supervisor race goes. Really lots to keep an eye on when it comes to election night 2025. And we will have it all for you right here starting at 8 o'clock on 98.9 WXCO and on the Civic Media Radio Network. We're going to loosen it up a little bit coming up. We're going to talk a little sports. What is wrong with the Crew? What is wrong with the Bucks? Boy, we need some wins. We need some wins quickly. So we're going to talk a little bit of sports coming up next. I am Chad Holmes. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
I said, wow, what a day, a year, a life it is. You know, well, you know, you had it coming to you. Now there's not a lot I can do. Dreamer, a stupid little dreamer. Now you put your head in your hands, oh no. Woo! I said, oh, what a day, a year, a life it is. You know, well, We carry on in the same old way. No lessons learned from yesterday. Talk of changes, lost in pages of paperwork. I believe it.
Chad Home Show, 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app. Again, you can call or text us at 715-382-9297. That's 715-382-9297 to join us here this morning on 98.9 WXCO. Well, may want to keep your eyes closed when it comes to the Milwaukee Brewers these days. 0-4 to start off the season. The Brewers have really struggled so far. They lost 3 in a row over the weekend against the New York Yankees, and now they headed home yesterday, hopefully to try and turn things around, to try to get off to a good start at American Family Field. But the Brewers, I guess the only good thing you can say is that they're allowing fewer runs each day over the last 3 days, because they started on Saturday. They gave up 20 runs to the Yankees in a 20-9 loss. Gave up 9 home runs in that game. Gave up only 12 runs then on Sunday in a 12-3 loss. And then yesterday, taking another stride forward, the Brewers only gave up 11 runs. I joke. 20, 12, and 11 is not good. And yesterday, the Brewers fell to the Kansas City Royals by a score of 11-1. And for the first time in a decade, the Brewers are 0-4. They had not been, at this point, 0-4 since back in 2015. The Brewers are struggling on the mound. The Brewers are struggling at the plate. They're struggling everywhere. And, Royals came out, scored 3 times in the top of the first. It was 4-0 after 2. Stayed that way until a big... I think it was a 6-run outburst in the 6th inning for the Royals, and then they're just going to cruise to the win. Brewers will try again tonight, and frankly, I'm seeing names I have no idea where they're coming from, because tonight the Brewers have a guy named Chad Patrick. Yeah, I like the name Chad, of course. You got to love that. But Chad Patrick will take the mound for the Brewers. I don't know who Chad Patrick is, to be honest with you. I guess I have to study a little bit closer, but the Brewers will try to avoid going to 0-5, and they've never gone 0-5. So Brewers and the Kansas City Royals tonight at 6:40 at American Family Field. Milwaukee Bucks have been struggling as well. The Bucks right now are number 6 in the Eastern Conference when it comes to the potential playoff seedings, and they've lost 4 games in a row as well. So the Brewers have lost 4 games in a row, and the Bucks have lost 4 games in a row. And tonight, interesting, the Bucks are home against the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix has been struggling as well. They've lost their superstar, Kevin Durant, with an ankle injury. I don't think he'll be playing tonight. But it is the return of Mike Budenholzer, the former Bucks coach, Coach Bud, who led the team to an NBA championship just 4 years ago. But then after a first-round loss in the playoffs, he was fired. And the Bucks have not really done any better since they got rid of Coach Bud. But he returned to the NBA this year as coach of the Suns. It's been a bit of a struggle there for him and for their team. But be interesting to see the response he gets when he returns to Pfizer Forum tonight. I hope people cheer him. I hope the Bucks do something special. Maybe give a video presentation, because I always was a fan of Coach Bud. I was not a person who agreed with the Bucks when they fired him. And I think ultimately they would have been better off keeping him. But nevertheless, he does come back to Milwaukee to coach against the Bucks for the first time tonight. And hopefully the Bucks and their fans do respond in a classy way. But for the Bucks, they have to turn things around. Boy, they have just been not good recently. And not only losing the games, both Friday night in their game against the Knicks that they lost, and then Sunday night in the, I would call it an embarrassing performance against Atlanta, both games at home. Both times afterwards, players have said, not playing tough enough, hard enough. That's inexcusable. And if they have any hopes of trying to do something in the playoffs, they're going to have to dig. It can't be where they think they can roll the basketball out there and just play. They have to dig and be much tougher, or else it's going to be another first round exit for the Bucks, and that's become a bit of a discouraging pattern in recent years. But the Bucks and the Phoenix Suns tonight at Pfizer Forum. And a quick note that coming up on Friday, we'll have our first high school sports broadcast of the spring season. And the original scheduled game was Wausau West baseball against Antigo. But with the way the weather's been and field conditions, I can't imagine that game's going to be played, at least at Wausau West High School on Friday. So at this point, it is looking like we'll have the Warriors in softball. And the reason that I can be very confident that there's going to be a game on Friday in softball is because Wausau West and DC Everest and other schools are part of an event over at Greenheck Turner Community Center. And part of Greenheck Turner Community Center has an indoor area that you can play softball. In fact, they're going to be playing 2 softball games at the same time inside Greenheck Turner on Friday and then again on Saturday. Wausau West taking on Lakeland on Friday afternoon. 2:50 for the pregame, 3 o'clock for the first pitch, right here on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app. And then Saturday, more Wausau West High School softball, again at Greenheck Turner, taking on Eau Claire Memorial as the Warriors and the Old Abes will face off. And we will have coverage starting at 9:50 for the pregame, and then the first pitch at 10 a.m. So Wausau West softball kicking off the spring sports season here on 98.9 WXCO and online. Coming up after an information update, we will hear my conversation yesterday with Judge Susan Crawford. That's coming up here on 98.9 WXCO.
Time to see what's become of me. While I looked around for my possibilities, I was so hard to please. Look around, leaves are brown, and the sky is a hazy shade of winter. Hear the salvation of me.
I'm asking them to vote for me tomorrow. To vote for me. Not really. They don't have a plan. And that's.
And of course, the top race, significant race. And we are very happy to welcome back to the program to talk about it, a very significant race. And we are very happy.
It's transition season as we move from winter sports into the start of spring sports. I'm Travis Wilson, and this is a WisSports.net Minute brought to you by Just a Game Fieldhouse in Wisconsin Dells. More high school sports news after this. You may have heard of Just a Game Fieldhouse in Wisconsin Dells, one of the country's premier destinations for youth sports and events, but did you know that Just a Game does so much more? Just a Game also delivers end-to-end apparel, equipment, and event solutions with their state-of-the-art screen printing and embroidery facility that can help with branding for your team and business items, including uniforms, apparel, and more. Just a Game also offers digital services that include a cashless digital platform and event live streaming. Just a Game has also added a second brand new facility in Reedsburg. Find more information at justagame.com. The winter sports season is complete with state champions crowned and many splendid careers wrapped up. That means it's on to spring sports, which is often a fickle beast with uncertain Wisconsin weather. Already, we've seen the first contest for track and field, as well as soccer and lacrosse, with other spring sports of baseball, girls soccer, boys golf, and boys tennis getting underway later this week. The focus for track and field has been on the indoor season. In some early results in the sprinting events, Martin Lindholm of the Reedsburg boys track team has the fastest 55-meter dash time of 6.45 seconds. Germantown junior Aiden Dykstra cleared an impressive 6 feet 8 inches in the high jump at a meet earlier this season. Not surprisingly, the boys' shot put leaderboard is dotted with Kimberly athletes, led by a 62-foot 4.5-inch throw from senior Hunter Sprangers. On the girls' side, defending D1 state champion Elise Schrader of Arrowhead already has an elite pole vault mark of 13 feet 2 inches. This marks the second year of lacrosse as an official WIAA-sponsored sport, and games got underway last week. Jocelyn White had a huge game to open things for the Notre Dame girls squad, scoring 11 goals and assisting on the other as the Tritons defeated Oregon 12-11 last Thursday. This has been a WisSports.net Minute. Check us out online at WisSports.net.
Chad Home Show 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Right now, fair skies in downtown Wausau. 30 degrees is the temperature, but a winter weather advisory will go into effect at 7 p.m. this evening and go until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, as we expect, again, some snow. Yep, it will start off with some snow, then it will be snow and freezing rain, possibly mixed with sleet. Snow could be heavy at times, and perhaps 3 to 5 inches of accumulation before all is said and done. So again, boy, March was an interesting month with the weather. It looks like April is starting off that way, but fortunately it looks like after that maybe we'll start to get a little bit more spring-like weather. But again, as you head out tonight and then tomorrow morning during the morning drive, be aware. Again, there'll be more snow. And again, some slick road conditions possible. So make sure you take a little time and make sure you get to wherever you're headed very safely. And one of the places that I hope that you today, if you haven't already voted, is to get to your local polling place, because it is election day. Lots of very important races, whether statewide or locally. And one of the statewide races, of course, is for state Supreme Court. And as I mentioned yesterday, because of the winter weather that we got on Sunday, we had a lot of ice and an ice storm that went through, and we got knocked off the air on 98.9 WXCO. We were still on 12:30 yesterday. We were still online, but if you tuned in yesterday to listen to our program on 98.9, there was nothing but static. And that was very frustrating to me yesterday, because we had a very important guest yesterday, Susan Crawford, state Supreme Court candidate. No nominees, because this is a nonpartisan race, but candidate for the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. It was the second time we've had a chance to talk to Susan Crawford as we get to the final moments of this race. And again, this was yesterday, and had an opportunity to talk to Susan Crawford. And since 98.9 FM was not on the air yesterday, I wanted to share this conversation with those of you who may have missed it, give you one more chance to hear from the candidate before heading to the polls today. So here was myself and Susan Crawford yesterday on the program. And we are very happy to welcome back to the program to talk about it, heading down the stretch towards Election Day, Judge Susan Crawford, on the ballot tomorrow here in Wisconsin. Judge, thank you again for joining us and spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, good morning, Chad. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Let's jump right in. I want to start off with your reaction to what we saw last night with Elon Musk after spending millions and millions of dollars in terms of lifting Brad Schimmel's campaign. On what we saw last night, your general impression on last night, and maybe the whole Musk effect on this election.
Yeah, well, it was kind of a bizarre event, pretty wide-ranging comments by Elon Musk, not actually a lot of focus on the election, which I thought was sort of interesting. He did not have that much to say about Brad Schimmel. But obviously, he's handing out $1 million checks at that event, and I think Wisconsinites should really be outraged by that. We have the richest man in the world wading into a state judicial race, trying to buy a seat on the Supreme Court, and it's not democratic. It's not what should be happening here.
The decisions that will be made by whatever Supreme Court is seated after the election will affect the lives of Wisconsinites on a daily basis, not Elon Musk on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
What do Wisconsinites who have their lives that will be affected one way or the other after this election, what should they be thinking about when it comes to you as a jurist? What are the things you're going to bring to that group with some very important issues coming in front of that court over the next couple of years? What will you bring to the decision-making process over the next couple of years?
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Chad. You know, I've worked throughout my entire career as a lawyer and now as a judge to protect the rights of Wisconsinites under our laws and under our Constitution. You know, I started out as a prosecutor at the Wisconsin Department of Justice, working to make sure we had safe communities and that people who had committed violent crimes were off our streets and that crime victims' rights were protected in the process. And then later as a lawyer, I worked to protect the rights of Wisconsinites in our courts, standing up for things like voting rights and reproductive freedom and the rights of workers. And that I want voters to know that about me, that I have fought for them in our courts. And now as a judge, that's what I do every day, case by case. Just always standing up for Wisconsin values and Wisconsin families when I'm sitting behind the bench. And that's what I'll do on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. My sort of fundamental judicial philosophy is that we have laws and we have a constitution to protect the rights of Wisconsinites. And I interpret them to carry out that purpose. And that's what I'll do on the Supreme Court.
You use the term rights. And I think that in this era, there's a lot of the rights of the average citizen, whether it's in Wisconsin, whether it's throughout the country, that are under attack by the forces of power, the forces of money. How do you look at the whole system I feel there's cracks. And I think one of the aspects that's been talked about a little bit more recently, especially at the national level, but it could just as easily occur at the state level if the same mindset goes in, is the belief that the justice system does believe in justice. Could you maybe talk about what you see, what you think, again, beyond even beyond this race, but the whole idea of justice for the average person?
Yeah. I think money is really a corrupting force. We've seen in this election that, Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, has come in and spent now upwards of $25 million on this race. And he is out trying to buy off people's votes. And my opponent, Brad Schimmel, seems okay with that. He's not said a single word of criticism or asked Elon Musk to back down or to, stop trying to bribe voters in Wisconsin. So that's really pathetic, in my opinion. This is a race where we have a extreme partisan politician who is willing to, be bought off by the highest bidder, and the highest bidder is the richest man in the world here. And we've seen Elon Musk out in Washington, D.C., trying to dismantle broad swaths of the federal government without even knowing what those folks do, with really serious, with consequences that are so serious that then a week later they try to undo what they've done because they don't have a plan. And none of that is about justice for Wisconsinites. None of that is about the role of our Wisconsin Supreme Court in making fair, impartial interpretations of our laws that should not involve any kind of a partisan agenda.
And I guess before we do run out of time, because I know you're very, very busy, consequences. And I think one thing that people have noticed in the last 2.5 months since the new administration has come in is that there are consequences in elections that a lot of people say, boy, I really didn't think that would happen, or I didn't think that he would actually do that. When it comes to different issues here in Wisconsin, whether it is abortion, whether it is voting rights, whether it is even, healthcare and things like that, these are issues that come in front of the court, and there are consequences to whoever takes that seat, correct?
Absolutely. And I think, reproductive freedom is a really good example of that. And there was a period of time after the Dobbs decision, the decision that overturned Roe versus Wade, when doctors couldn't be sure that 1849 abortion ban, criminal abortion ban that bans just about all abortions, whether that law was in effect or not. Ultimately, after a period of time, a judge put that law on hold while the case was moving through the courts. But while that law could have been in effect, doctors were afraid of getting punished. They were afraid of getting charged with felonies. And during that period of time, and I've heard this from a number of people on the campaign trail, both women and healthcare professionals, women had to leave the state of Wisconsin to get healthcare. And these are not situations where somebody was seeking to just voluntarily terminate a pregnancy. It's one where they had a very wanted pregnancy and were having really significant complications, and they had to leave the state to get health care. So these are some life and death issues, Chad. There's a lot on the line. And
real quickly to wrap it up, as you come to the finish line of this election race, you've gone through a lot. Any regrets on throwing your head in the ring? Because I imagine going up against the richest man in the world is something you weren't expecting. How do you feel as you get to the finish line?
Yeah, there have been a lot of crazy twists and turns in this race, Chad, but I haven't regretted it for 1 minute. And I'm proud of the race that I ran. I think we stuck with our principles. I've told the truth about who I am as a person and what kind of justice I want to be on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. So I'm putting my trust in the voters to make the right decision in this race and put a judge on the Supreme Court that wants to protect their rights under our laws and not a partisan politician. So I'm asking everybody who's listening to the show today to make sure they get out and vote, and I'm asking them to vote for me.
That was the conversation that I had yesterday morning with Judge Susan Crawford. Again, with 98.9 FM off the air yesterday morning. I wanted to make sure anybody who tuned in to 98.9 and just heard static yesterday had an opportunity as well to hear the comments, some of the final comments of this election from Judge Crawford. In fact, you just heard that. And coming up here in about a minute, you'll have a chance to hear a counter argument from Donald Trump as he gives his reasons for supporting Brad Schimmel. So we want to make sure that everybody gets the opportunity to hear from the candidates. The time is 9:48. Coming up, it's our daily history lesson. I'm going to hold my tongue. I had a couple things I'm going to say here. We'll hold it for a moment. Come right back. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
Could be I'm happy, I'm sad, could be I'm losing my head over you. Well, you gotta be crazy, baby, to want a guy like me. Yeah, you gotta be out of your mind, crazy. So if I'm dreaming, don't wake me tonight. If this is all wrong, I don't want it right. 'Cause you're the one sure thing when I get lost in the game. Once again, hey, I'm a lucky guy without a reason and I.
WXCO.
It's Cornell from Merrill.
Cornell, I give you a couple of minutes, but that's about it. So if I give you all 3 minutes, because otherwise we're kind of tight here at the end of the show.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to talk about a sports star. You know, am I on?
Nope, not yet. So we're in the commercial break right now. So
Well, I just wanted to say to get out the vote for Judge Crawford, and I want to give you a sports. We have a champion.
all right. Hang on a second. We're going to be coming out of the break here in about a little less than a minute. I got to grab something really fast, but just hang on here, and I will introduce you and get you on the air right at the start of the next segment.
I want to say to get out the vote. And
Absolutely.
sports star champion.
Very good. Just hold on one moment. We'll get you on.
You see the face on the TV screen, coming at you every Sunday. See the face on the billboard. Well, that man is me.
Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app, also at YouTube.com and the 98.9 WXCO page there. It is Election Day. It is April the 1st of 2025, and on the line, we have Cornell from Merrill. Good morning and happy Election Day to you, Cornell.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, just get out the vote, everybody. We got to get Judge Crawford in there. Man, I'll tell you, I've been getting some calls, and people are mad with this Musk. You know, they don't want, we got to wake up. We don't want a billionaire buying a judge in the state. We have to wake up. And I heard Judge Crawford talk in Wausau last week, and I just feel she's fair. She worked hard to get her law degree in Wisconsin, and I just feel that just listening to her, that she treat the people fairly. And we don't want a judge bought by bought and sold and a yes person for Trump, and everything is in chaos. So just get out there and vote, and I hope people vote for Judge Crawford. And now I want to turn to sports.
Go for it.
Okay, we have a champion. Nobody's talking about it. I want to lift people's spirits up because the Bucks and the Brewers are having a terrible spot. Do you know the champion? And I'll give you a hint. This is the question. It's on ice.
UW River Falls Division III women's hockey.
No, this is world champion.
Oh, world champion.
World champion.
Not national champion, world champion.
World champion.
I don't know. At least not off the top of my head.
Boy. Oh, Elisa Liu won at 19 years old the United States World Championship in Boston.
What was the event?
The World Championship. Let's see.
Is it figure skating?
Yes, figure skating. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Elisa Liu, 19 years old. Her father, an immigrant from China, and she was born in California, American citizen. And just check her skating on YouTube. Incredible. I just love to watch these skaters. Incredible.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully a big win for her, and hopefully some big wins tonight, right?
Yes. I just want to raise your spirit up. And she didn't get much press, but if somebody wants to see something exciting, incredible figure skating, and it shows on YouTube, it shows the whole rink, and it's just unbelievable. No slips, no mistakes, just a number 10. I'll tell you, I just enjoy watching those Olympic figure skating, and I just want to say you did a great job in announcing those hockey games.
Appreciate it. By the way, did you know that the Olympics are coming up? Because I didn't really realize it until I saw like a commercial. The Olympics are coming up next winter. I mean, so it's not that far away. So that's always fun. I think the Olympics, one of the great things about the Olympics is that for those 2 weeks, you kind of stop thinking about people like Donald Trump for a while.
Well, that's why I wanted to call you.
So I'm looking forward to the Olympics coming up next winter. That'll be fun. So no, I appreciate that, and appreciate you. You said it. You've been walking the walk when it comes to talking to other people as well. And I think that's something that's vitally important when it comes to what we're doing here.
Yeah, I just feel so strongly that we got to get Susan Crawford in there because, just listening to her talk, that she'll treat people fairly, and that's what we need. We don't want a racist president coming in and buying a judge, and I just feel that Susan Crawford's the right person, and I hope the Wisconsinite people will understand that and have the values of kindness and goodness, and get her in there.
Absolutely. Well, Cornell, I look forward to hearing your response after the election. So hopefully it'll be a good thing when we hear from you next.
Well, yeah. Okay, Chad. Well, thanks for the civic media team. They've just been terrific. I've been listening to them, and it's nice that we can get the word out on both sides, and we just have to get her in there to make a great court.
Absolutely. Thanks, Cornell. We'll talk again real soon.
Yeah. Okay, Chad. Good luck. I'll be calling today too. I got to remind a few people.
There you go. Thanks, Cornell.
Okay.
On that note, Cornell reminds us about everybody else at Civic Media. And again, at 8:00 tonight, special live coverage of election night 2025 here in Wisconsin. So again, once you get done voting, Tune in tonight. Dan Schaefer, our political director, and also many others will be involved in the production this evening. So starting at 8 o'clock, tune in for results, analysis, and a whole bunch more on election night here from 98.9 WXCO and Civic Media. Well, that's going to wrap it up. We will be back tomorrow morning. Hopefully, Ian will be back tomorrow morning. We'll bring back the number for the day quiz tomorrow. Running out of time here today. But get Ian back on the winning track tomorrow, and hopefully you can join us as well. Coming up next, it's Matt and Air on Air. And don't forget, Jane will have your next chance to win with our statewide Text to Win contest coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. I'm Chad Holmes. This has been the Chad Holmes Show. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and keep it right here on 98.9 WXCO.
Driving